Welcome friends, it is I, Scarf, and it's time for the short smart guide for beginners, and this time it is Anhur, the king of the jungle. He is Mufasa incarnate, and he wrecks people pretty bad. Just be scared of Scar. So, there's a beginner guide here. A lot of information here for beginners to get good with him. They don't know how to play him at all. That'll help you out. Not a lot of advanced and expert stuff in here. Just mostly beginner stuff to help beginners get better at the game with Anhur. So let's get going. Class and roles. Now Anhur is a hunter. That's his class. So, you know, you got a slow start up when you're a hunter, but when you get built up later on, you just destroy everything. That is a hunter, and you do it through basic attacks. Now, for beginners and roles, you do ADC, of course. You fight in the long lane, farm out the first half of the match, and then the second half of the match, you're just very powerful with your basic attacks. And you can kill everything. You can kill enemy gods, you can kill towers, Gold Fury, hyenas, fire giant, Scar, phoenixes. Everything dies to your basic attacks when you get built up. It's really nice. Now for advanced, some hunters can be played in solo and mid. I don't recommend Anhur for that. I like Neith and Amundsen Cobb for it because they have sustain, while Anhur doesn't have sustain outside of items, so I wouldn't really recommend that for advanced people, but you can try it if you really want. But there is a niche role he can do, and that is jungle. Anhur is an effective killer, so he can gank really well, so you can play him in the jungle, but it does require coordination, so it's only best to play it with friends who can coordinate with you. Anhur's abilities. So first up is his passive, that is Enfeeble. What happens is when he hits enemies with his spear attacks, they lose 15 physical protection for 3 seconds. That would be his spears from his basic attack, Impale, and Desert Fury. Now his first ability is Shifting Sands. This summons a pillar out of the ground that can body block, and also slows enemies around it down because there's sand around the pillar. Enemies on the pillar take increased damage from Anhur's basic attacks. Anhur's second ability is Impale. This is a skill shot that goes forward, it pierces minions, and the first guy it hits gets knocked back, and if they get knocked into a wall, they are stunned. Anhur's third ability is called Disperse. This is a leap, and wherever Anhur lands, he does damage and knocks up enemies around him. Finally is Anhur's ultimate, that is Desert Fury. He rapidly fires 8 spears in succession in front of him, and you can aim those as you're moving around. You're CC immune during this, and these spears go through walls, so you can kill people pretty well with this, even if they're running away. Tips and combos. First up are tips. Now, Pillar can be used defensively and offensively. It's very useful in that way. For defense, you can put up the pillar in front of an enemy team, which can body block them, or the sand will slow them down so that your team does not get caught by the enemy team coming from a location. The other way of it, though, offensively is you can put down the pillar to slow down an enemy you're chasing to kill them, or put it in front of them to slow them down, or even get them stuck in a corner with your pillar so you just beat them up and they have nowhere to go. It's very nice there. Now some tips for Impale. You always want to try to impale an enemy into a wall because of the stunt. It's just very useful for that. You can also use your Impale defensively to knock someone away from you in the open field, in case they're getting close and they might kill someone like you or someone else on your team, so use it defensively like that. But the one to think of, very importantly, is when your team is collapsing on an enemy god and they're CCing the hell out of them, do not hit them with Impale. There are so many times when an enemy god will get stunned or other things happen to them, and you hit them with the Impale and it knocks them out of range of your teammates, and then they don't get killed, and your teammates are going to be mad at you. Now for combos, these are both kind of difficult because of lag, but they are the 1-2-4 combo and the 3-1-2-4 combo. The first combo is easier to do, the second one is a bit more difficult, especially with lag. Now the 1-2-4 combo is you quickly put up a pillar, throw out your Impale, and you knock your opponent into your pillar and it stuns them, and you can do your ultimate or basic attacks to beat them to death. It's really nice, it's a good bread and butter combo. But the more advanced one is using Disperse as well, and this is usually a defensive move when you're in the back, like if you're under your tower. What you can do is you can jump up with Disperse, land next to your opponent, and with the knock up, you can place a pillar behind them and throw your Impale into them, knocking them into the pillar, and then use your ult on them, your basic attacks to beat them to death. It is possible to knock an opponent into a tower doing this. It's very useful, but it is really hard to do without practice. Anhur's purchases. Now, like all hunters, sprint is almost a requirement. It's just really useful for chasing and getting away from bad situations. Anhur can go with 2 aggressive actives if you want because of a CC immune ultimate, but if you want to play it safe, you should get Beads or Aegis and then use Disperse to get the hell out of there if you need to. Also, like all hunters, their best defense is a strong offense, so you want to focus on power, pen, crits, lifesteal, and items that proc off basic attacks. With that, you should be able to do a lot of damage as long as you land your shots. In conclusion, Anhur is a very strong hunter, but he does have a high skill ceiling because he relies on you being very well skilled at landing skill shots because he's got a bunch of them and his skill shots are pretty thin. You need a lot of practice of playing well, and once you get enough practice, you will just wreck with him very badly against your opponents, especially if you can land his pillar combo with his impale and his ultimate. If you can land all 8 hits with that ultimate, you're going to wreck a team really bad, and you're going to make them regret when they hear the lion's roar. So that's it for the On Her guide. Next up is going to be Anubis guy. That's a mage there. Probably show him mostly in the mid, and he's a lot of fun to play, and I can't wait to show you what you can do with him. But that right there is the guide. I had fun from watching, and that's what's all about, isn't it? Having fun. Thanks for coming by, and see you next time.